Okay, never mind. See, this is why I should have waited even longer. I released a Loadout How to Win video about a week ago. My loadout and style has changed a decent bit since then, and no new meta has developed. You can ignore that video at this point, but one video you absolutely must watch either before or after this one is my every Avenger chest location video. Link is in the description. This is because finding the loadout we use today involves using 3 Avengers items, and the quickest way to get these items is to spam these chests. Knowing which locations have 4 or 5 Avengers chests and exactly where they are will make you a much better player than if you don't. You also want to know where the shockwave selling NPCs are on the map. My favorite is Bright Raider down at the bottom of the desert because I often land at Brutal Beachhead or Brawler's Battlegrounds. She also drops a blue striker AR if you kill her, and she has 131 gold in a safe right at her location, making the total cost of 6 shock only 169 gold, which can easily be found later in a vault. Rust would be my second choice over east above Sandy Steps as he is closest to the raft and I like to get that medallion first. Gwenpool outside of Reckless is kind of in the middle of the map, is the one that I go to the least. She's more of a late game restock if I need, but if you land in Castle Doom, she may be your girl. Running this loadout, I was able to increase my win rate from 11% in solos to 15% at the time of this recording. I hope it gives you as much success and enjoyment as I've gotten playing with it so far. This will be one of those pay attention to the background footage videos because this may be my most dominant strategy to date. I am destroying people, winning fights with less HP lost than ever before, having the confidence to push in and finish fights I normally would leave, and most importantly, killing people in ways that simply aren't possible most times. Take Island for example. I am an Island demon right now and would contend with anyone in the world on my abilities to fight up there. This loadout will give you the same confidence. So what changed and why do I run what I run right now? Well, let's start with what stayed the same. Jetpack, Shockwaves, and a Striker AR, Auto or Burst, are still in, but instead of a shotgun and heals, we are now running Captain Shield every game and the Auto Turret. This new foundation of Jetpack, Shield, and the Auto Turret gives us an incredible form to work with. The Jetpack allows us quick mobility in every scenario, the Captain Shield allows us to block while moving around quickly, the Auto Turret is locking onto and providing damage the entire time someone is close to you. This makes you an absolute monster within the 30-meter range. I am now, for the first time ever, W-keying everyone. I start off by getting close to people and blocking / dodging while in the air. Let them waste their first clip from their weapon while my auto turret starts off with a little damage. This damage may be small, but the pressure it provides is huge. It quickly gets people into the mindset of, I need to do something different. I am not damaging him, yet he is damaging me. Because people attack me a lot and then back off and go into runaway mode once they see my loadout. Oftentimes it's too late then. Rarely can you escape me in a car because it's easy to blow them up this season. You won't outrun me on foot as I carry double mobility. And if it's jetpack versus jetpack, I am confident I can out jetpack pretty much anyone who's not an absolute top tier player. Jetpack fuel efficiency is the key to these jetpack fights this season. Last season I recommended counting your opponent's nitro fist charges and trying to fight them more aggressively when they ran out. This season it's the same with the jetpack. You have to watch your opponents and see how much they have recently flown. How much are they dashing? If you see someone who flies a lot but dashes very little, their fuel will be gone very quickly. When this opponent is grounded mid-fight, they are likely out of fuel entirely and helpless for about 10 seconds while their fuel recharges. This is the time to pounce in and be aggressive. Everyone agrees that jetpack is OP. Most people agree that the auto turret is a very useful item to have, maybe not worth an inventory slot to each person, but its value is obvious. Currently, however, there's quite a bit of rhetoric going around that the Captain America shield is bad. This video is here to put those rumors to rest. Captain Shield is an amazing tool. It's probably the second most important item behind the jetpack given my personal strategy. The most important thing to do with the shield is to block often and dash often. When I block with the shield, my stance rarely gets broken, and of the times it does get broken, I am always flying around in the air, and I would say maybe 1 out of every 6 or 7 occurrences does a broken stance actually lead to my death. In these instances, however, having a shotgun would rarely have saved me as those block 0 damage. The reason most Captain America shield users are terrible with it is because they are using the shield by itself. They will fly slowly, hold it out, and throw it poorly. We haven't even talked about the offense of the shield yet, just its defensive capabilities, which are insane. You can attack with the Captain America shield in one of 2 ways. It has a throw and a running bash attack. We'll talk about the throw first because it has far more nuance, but the bash is very important and something that I see 0 players utilize properly. So, when do you want to throw your shield at your opponent? There are a few factors to consider. However, the most important is speed. How fast are you moving and how fast is your opponent moving? The most ideal scenario to fight someone is when we have a jetpack and they don't. You would fly up a bit, throw your shield at them, and as soon as you throw it, dash to the side. Let the shield come back and do it again. All while the auto turret is doing its tick damage. It should take on average 4 shield hits to kill a full health opponent. The 4 hits will do 200 total at 50 damage apiece, and the auto turret will do the remaining 50. Now this won't always be the case, and often your opponent will be just as mobile as you with their jetpack dashes, causing your shield throw to eventually miss your opponent. Lately the shield throw miss has been particularly punishing. If you miss your opponent, disengage immediately. I don't mean run away from the fight, I just mean turn away from your opponent and dash around for like 2 to 3 seconds it takes for your shield to come back. If instead your opponent is in a vulnerable position, you can simply switch to your AR and blast them. I don't know if people simply don't know this or if they don't like to, but you can throw the Captain America shield and then switch to your AR and fire it while the shield is traveling, giving you 2 offensive threats at a single instance. Most people will throw the shield and sit there like a big target waiting for it to come back. This is why I think it's a popular sentiment Captain America's shield is a bad item, because so many people use it improperly. It is a very delicate balance of knowing when to block, when to attack, and when to dash around trying to make your opponents miss. This simply comes with practice, and if you use my loadout for a few days, I promise it will start to make more sense. With this being said, if you ever notice your opponent has thrown their shield at you and you force them to miss, now is the time to switch to your AR and really blast them, as it takes most people a bit to react to the fact that they are in a bad situation. I know this is very difficult to do, but trust me, if you can get good at fighting other shield users in the air, you will get very good with this loadout. There are 2 things people typically do. They either overthrow or overblock, where a good shield user will do a proper balance of both. If they overblock, it's simple, blast them. They will never do damage simply blocking, so it's just shoot out their block and kill them when their stance is broken. If they are throwing their shield a lot, it's a bit trickier. You want to watch your opponent's character model. There's a distinct wind up and then throw before the shield actually comes towards you. When you see your opponent wind their arm back, you want to dash out of the way. Left or right will be your quickest method to get out of harm's way. This is your moment to strike, as depending on what is behind you, it could be a full 2 to 3 seconds before the shield returns to your opponent. If there's something physical behind you that it can bounce off of, it could just be a second. Okay, let's talk about the bash attack. Overall, the Captain America shield does not do great in super close range and close quarter situations, as it can easily lose to any weapon that has high DPS. Remember, the strength of the block of the shield comes in its ability to pair it with the hover jet dashes. However, if a fight has already gone on for a bit and you've applied 100 plus damage to your opponent and you feel you can close the gap and finish them off, a Captain Shield bash into throw is often a great play to checkmate players who back themselves into a corner. There's been a lot of praise for bubble shields this season, and for good reason. They block all the stuff that we currently have in the game. Captain Shield can't go through it, War Machine can't. It's a safe haven to heal up or just block damage for the moment. However, players feel too safe in this small space and they don't respect the bash of the shield enough in my experience. I've had numerous players just stand there and let me bash them with my Captain Shield, and this will push them out of the zone of their shield, allowing me to either throw my shield at them if they don't react quick enough, or continue my offense now that they are in the open with my AR or auto turret while I chase them down. This type of play can also work in the bunker vaults as well. Normally when you run down that little ramp, if someone has right shoulder peak standing where the gold will be near, that is a free way to blast whoever approaches a player in the bunker. But with the Captain America shield bash, you are blocking at the same time you run. You can take 250 damage, and when you are moving, people are just far worse at hitting you. So long as you don't give them more than 5 to 10 meters to react to your run, it's typically not a situation that people have a good answer to. It's situational and can honestly help you anytime you need to close the gap between you and someone who has an angle on you when you're in a bit of a stalemate. I know bubble shields are all the rage, but when it comes to shields, I'm a firm believer that the Captain America is better in the head-to-head. Now, linking it all together as a striker, auto or burst, it really doesn't make a difference to me. Choose whichever you are most comfortable with. Personally, I've been enjoying the auto with a thermal sight, speed mag, laser, and muzzle brake. This allows me to see enemies from afar a little easier. The recoil of the weapon feels good for me even with a more magnified view. Muzzle really comes in handy for that. Most importantly, the laser gives us a great hipfire spread if we do need to just shoot at our opponent from within a 15 meter or so range. We choose the speed mag to keep the reload around 2.5 seconds. If we went drum mag, it would go up to 3.3 seconds on a gold and 3.7 seconds on a blue. For only a 7 bullet increase, that just hardly seems worth it. Where say there's a game where I play the striker burst, I will in fact go for drum mag. This gives us a boost in bullets from 20 to 30 and only puts us at a 2.62 reload time on a purple versus 1.82 reload time on a speed mag. While a quicker reload is nice, I think the extra 10 bullets in the clip ready to go are far more valuable, and it's not like a 2.5-ish second reload time is too much. It's what we get with the auto, so we are pretty used to it on both weapons. I do think it's also worth noting 2 big strengths of each weapon. The auto is chosen for higher DPS. It has 210 versus 204, and for me personally, just beaming someone while in a jetpack feels more smooth than burst firing at them when aiming down sight. However, where the burst really shines is imitating the recently vaulted Thunderburst SMG. It is currently the most accurate AR to hipfire, and the burst element actually helps me control it in this regard. It does certainly feel a bit like the Thunderburst, and I don't know if you've tried it yet, but the Striker Burst is surprisingly pinpoint at its base hipfire accuracy. No laser. Just give it a shot. I think you will enjoy it if you are a fan of hipfiring the Thunderburst last season. Best part about this burst, you can throw a thermal sight on it and actually shoot people pretty far out. Thunderburst really struggled to put any sizable damage on opponents once they were out of a 50-ish meter range. A couple of quick strategic tips before we leave you off. If you get into a mirror match where your opponent is also carrying a shield, auto turret, and jetpack, you will simply need to outplay and outsmart them. Block and dash when they shoot, throw the shield and shoot when they reload. It's a cat and dog kind of game where you will simultaneously be applying pressure and playing defense. Don't let their auto turret distract you. Yours is doing the exact same thing to them, so it's an even fight. Once again, our most important resource aside from health is jetpack fuel. Try to utilize your jetpack better than they do theirs in an attempt to ground them for an easy finish. Consider using your shockwaves if you need to take height instead of the jetpack fuel to win this battle of the resources, as most people don't carry shocks as well as a jetpack. Final niche tip is going to be island fighting. When going to island, make sure you have your shield out, either if you rift or zipline up so you can block as soon as it's actionable. Rifting will always be safer. Zipline is fine if you are 100% sure there's nobody on the island already. As we just said, rifting is safer, but that doesn't mean it's safe at all. If you're the one already up on the island and somebody rifts onto you, simply fly up and hipfire your weapon at them when you get close enough. Your auto turret will lock on and start doing damage as well. I've killed players from rifting before they are able to hit the ground. The Captain America shield can still lock onto opponents as well, so consider mixing that in too. As you can see, we've gone back to a no heal loadout. We are once again taking them from our opponents and healing from the map and mending machines. To me, this works so well because the Captain shield allows you to take less damage than ever before. There are so many fights where I kill my opponent without having my overshield cracked, or if I am low health, I just fight anyway, as I know proper shield block dashing will prevent me from getting further hurt. It truly is an OP loadout that should bring anybody a lot of success if you follow my style of gameplay shown today. I am sure there are even more tricks and situations I am not thinking of or haven't even found yet. This video is long enough already, but there will be another part shortly showing me fighting the Doom boss and how I use it to take down the user, as I don't really have any interest in using Doom myself, so stay tuned for that. But that's the strategy, everyone. We fly around, block our opponent's damage. Take advantage of when they must reload and when they are not moving extremely quickly. Let our auto turret do lots of tick damage throughout the fight. Blast them if they give us a chance via missed shield throw or poorly executed blocks of their own. Play slow if the fight needs it, and play quick if we have weakened our opponent, always remembering the shield bash is a way to finish off close range fights. The shield is not a shotgun. We don't carry a shotgun, and you can't play like we do. It's a completely different strategy that will only be around for this season and then gone forever. And to me, that's the beauty of Fortnite. Embrace the madness that is here while it is here, because we all know this game lives eternally in a temporary state. This is the current way to dominate the meta. Like if you got this far, comment what you think on this loadout, and share this with your friends and squad mates so y'all know exactly what to run and how to destroy your opponents. Love you all, and we'll see you on the next one.